Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do one last entry here for this go around, and then I'll give this this series a brief rest and then start working on some other stuff for you here. But thank you so much for all the wonderful entries, all the wonderful suggestions for this series. I think I've done maybe now 10 or 11 videos in a row, so this will be yet another one here. And I went back into one of the older suggestions to try to finish this one out. So yes, indeed, it just proves that I do go back and I've picked some of the older ones and not leave those behind. This one is a doozy. I don't think I've talked about this one before, but it definitely is a good way to finish off this series. And after you hear all this information, I think you'll see why it's so fascinating, so interesting, but also pretty deadly to come across this cryptid. Not something that you want to meet somewhere out there in this world. And it has to do with this. You're looking at it now. Clearly, right off the bat, you can see that it's a very unique looking cryptid, and it goes by a name that can be pronounced several ways, but I'll pronounce it, I think, how it's supposed to be, but who knows, it could be a different way, but it's known as the Akhlut. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating info associated with this very unique cryptid. So what is this Akhlut? Well, it's another creature that's found in the Inuit mythology. You know how much I love talking about that. In fact, some of my past videos have chronicled that as well. So yet another entry here for yourselves, for you guys and gals here. So this cryptid is known as something that takes various shapes there in the Arctic area. In this case, it can mimic either a wolf or an orca. So that's why in this case, like you see several artist depictions here that showcase like a combination of the two. And as far as its physical characteristics, let's focus on that here in a minute. So this thing, whatever it is, whether it's a true cryptid or whether it's a spirit, it physically can look either like a wolf. In fact, that's the form that you don't want to come across whenever you see this cryptid, because that means it's on its hunting mode. Or it can come across as an orca, as an actual whale. So either way, though, I was trying to see if it truly is like this, like where you see it now, where if it's in this case like in the wolf shape, if it has the orca fin on top of it, or if it's an orca, whether it has the characteristics of a wolf at the same time. In other words, a mishmash of the two. It didn't seem to come across like that. It didn't read like that whenever I came across the info. Made it seem like when it's a wolf, it truly is a wolf. Like it doesn't stand out in any other way, shape, or form, and vice versa with an orca. But it looks like for at least artistic interpretations, that's what you have here. But yes, it's no different in size than a wolf, no different in size than, in this case, an orca. That's pretty much it. Like, those are the characteristics of it. You could not tell it apart from anything else. Some of the telltale signs, of course, are the wolf tracks. So if you come across this creature, you'll know, because all of a sudden you're dealing with wolf tracks that have a very unique trait. In this case, they go into or from the ocean. That stands out clearly. Like, obviously, that's something that is right out of the blue unique. Like, I'm sure you'll see wolf tracks across most any part of the world, but the fact that they're coming to or from the ocean, that definitely makes it a unique aspect. In fact, the people there, the Inuit people, state that that's pretty much the biggest telltale sign that they look for. And when they see that, then they know that they're in a dangerous area, because here's what happens. This creature, I don't know if it's necessarily considered evil. It could be, but it may just be hunting at the same time. It feeds on humans. It feeds on people. It can feed on people right there nearby the ocean. It can feed on people right in the ocean itself. Remember, like if it takes the orca form, or if it takes the wolf form, then it goes on the hunt and it specifically tries to find them out there, whether those people are near the ocean or they happen to be, in this case, in their city, their huts, whatever you could consider it there. It'll go about and it'll snatch them, and then it'll take them back into their location, into the sea or wherever it is, to feed off of them. That's what I was saying earlier. If you see this thing in the official in this case wolf-like form, then you're in a bad spot, because here's this creature that is truly on the hunt. That's the reason why it's in that form specifically. But yes, they are known to attack people. They become considered very vicious. Even if you're in an area that you think you're safe enough, in other words, to sleep, you better be sleeping with one eye open, because it will absolutely still attack people and snatch them up. It has a voracious appetite, in fact. So it seems like it's never really satisfied when it comes to its hunger. It'll always be out there, whether it's doing it at night or during the day. I couldn't really see something along those lines, but it'll still be out there, always on the hunt, always trying to find these people and then trying to snatch them and then eat them. So, but again, telltale sign happens to be with those wolf tracks. If you see them coming across or going through, in this case, the ocean, then you'll know you're in an area, especially if they seem fresh. In other words, something where it seems like it was just planted yet just a couple of hours ago. Now, as far as the origins of this creature, here's where things get very interesting. According to Inuit mythology, the notion is this: it all came from a man, just a regular man, someone who apparently decided that they were infatuated with the sea. So the way the story goes was he was ostracized for this infatuation, because when he came back to the village, but somewhere along the way, people didn't recognize him from being out there in the sea for so long. I didn't really infer what that meant. The first thing that came to mind was, did he morph into something else? Like when it came to living out there for so long, is it something where his body adapted to his conditions surrounding his area? That's the first thing that came to mind. Someone else has another idea. Post it below. But either way, though, this thing got him banned from the village, the way he looked now. And so out there, he decided to go with a pack of wolves. And once that happened, he joined the wolves, became part of their clan, and then he decided to seek revenge. And then that's when he became, in this case, hungry and infatuated with attacking people. And then ever since then, it just continued on forward. So whether this man eventually started, I guess, creating others like it, or whether it's the original itself and it's just stayed on board for the longest time, who knows? But this Akhlut, that's apparently its origin as well. Another thing is the fact that apparently there was one person that became so insane that they jumped into the ocean. And once that happened, they became an orca. Who knows how that happens? I guess this is stretching things a little bit further than usual, but that's how that other notion started. That's how it became the orca, and then who knows how that tied into eventually becoming a wolf. But that's just another origin of this mythology. And then finally, there's the scientific explanations, like the stuff that people might want to think outside the box and realize maybe that's why this happened. So it could be this: the reason why you see tracks associated with wolves going into or from the ocean could be a simple explanation like this. Either the wolf itself was there hunting somewhere near that area, and then the water just naturally washed away the tracks leading up into the ocean. Maybe it was catching some fish nearby, tackling some kind of seal, whatever, like what that was there. But it makes it look like with the footprints being washed away up to a certain point, that it disappeared into the ocean. That's one explanation. Another one happens to be this: that it just decided to commit, as weird as it sounds, suicide. Like it just decided to die naturally. And when that happened, it happened near the ocean, and his body just washed away. And then the body also washed away the area where it landed, and then just the footprints remained where it walked up to it. So that's another explanation. Kind of a stretch on there, but I can kind of see something like that happening. And another one is this, because apparently if you find tracks, not just leading into the ocean, but leading into an area, like in this case, not an iceberg, but an area that contains ice that leads to the ocean, and you see those tracks disappear, it may be that the wolf accidentally just dropped into the ocean. It's slippery, of course, this ice that might have occurred, or it could be that the area that it was around, the wolf already left, but it cracked off, but the footprints remained from the location behind it. So that's why it looks like the tracks just suddenly stopped as it went, as it seemed like it jumped or it went into the ocean or came from the ocean itself. Yet another, in this case, a realistic explanation of it. But those are just more common sense type stuff when it comes to why people see these interesting tracks. But otherwise, the idea is this, that this thing, whatever it is truly, in this case, a spirit, something, some kind of mythology that takes on these various forms and it goes about hunting people to this very day. But that's pretty much it. That's all the information associated with this Inuit mythology, in this case, this Akhlut. So if anybody has any more info, something I might have missed, please post those comments below. Anybody there from the Arctic area, anybody that happened to be, let's say more familiar with this mythology, maybe even some more local tales, that'd be good to hear too. Of course, not really something that'd be good to come across it because of how how deadly this thing is considered. But if anybody can share more details from a more local standpoint, then that'd be good to hear as well too. So, but that's it. That'll be the last video here for this series, and then be on the lookout for other new series here too. I'm still deciding on which one to do next, so I might even do a poll to help get a something started, like an idea of where to begin my next series. So, all right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.